My beloved child, at the Last Supper, Jesus broke the bread and shared the cup, saying, "This is my body, broken for you. This is my blood, poured out for the forgiveness of sins." These simple elements carried an eternal promise: I will sustain you, heal you, and restore you. When you lift your prayers to me, no matter how small they may feel, know that I am already at work, weaving your needs into the tapestry of my perfect plan. Do not be discouraged by the silence or the waiting. Beloved, the disciples did not fully understand the significance of the bread and wine in that moment, but their faith carried them forward. In the same way, your prayer for financial miracle may feel unanswered now, but trust that I am working behind the scenes. The blessings I have prepared for you will arrive in due time, overflowing with purpose and provision. The Last Supper was not just a meal shared before a looming trial, it was a divine declaration of love and purpose. Jesus, knowing the pain and betrayal that awaited him, chose this moment to reveal the fullness of his heart for humanity. He invited his disciples into a covenant that would redefine their understanding of grace and provision, a covenant that extends to you today. When you feel the weight of waiting or the silence that sometimes accompanies your prayers, remember this: my promises are unchanging, and my presence is always near. Just as I shared the bread and wine as symbols of my unwavering commitment, I extend the same assurance to you. Your prayers are not forgotten, and the miracle you seek is not beyond my reach. Beloved, approach me with faith and humility. The table I have prepared for you is one of abundance, grace, and peace. When you bring your burdens and your hopes, trust that I am the God who provides, not according to your limitations but according to my boundless love. Rest in the knowledge that your needs are already known, and your prayers are cherished. Now, let your heart find comfort in this truth: I am the one who sustains you, the one who restores you, and the one who fulfills every promise. Step into this covenant of grace, and trust that the blessings I have prepared will come in their perfect time. The divine invitation to trust and rest in the waiting, beloved. When you come before me with your prayer for financial miracle, you are not just making a request, you are stepping into a relationship of trust and surrender. The disciples, gathered at the Last Supper, were called to trust in something they could not fully understand at the time, just as they were invited into a deeper faith. So are you. In that upper room, the atmosphere was heavy with the weight of what was to come, yet also alive with the presence of love and purpose. The bread and wine, simple and ordinary in appearance, became extraordinary symbols of my covenant with you. When you lift your prayers, no matter how small or uncertain they may seem, they are like that bread and wine, simple acts of faith that carry the power to transform your circumstances. You may feel the weight of waiting pressing upon you, wondering if your prayers are heard, or if your miracle is even possible. My child, do not let the waiting erode your faith. The disciples waited 3 days after my crucifixion, not knowing the resurrection was coming. Your waiting is not empty, it is filled with my presence and purpose. Trust that I am working, even when you cannot see the outcome. The waiting often feels like a wilderness, doesn't it? A place where doubts creep in and hope feels distant. But let me assure you, the wilderness is not the end, it is the place where I prepare you for what lies ahead. Just as I sustained the Israelites with manna in their journey through the desert, I am sustaining you in your journey. Each day, I provide what you need, even when the answers to your prayers are not yet visible. Consider the disciples at the Last Supper. They sat in the presence of the Savior. Yet they did not fully grasp the magnitude of the moment. Some doubted. Some feared. And one would betray me. Still, I welcomed them to the table, breaking bread and offering the cup. My love for them was not dependent on their understanding, it was rooted in my nature. In the same way, my love for you is steadfast and unchanging. Even when your faith feels small or fragile, your prayer for financial miracle is precious to me. And I am not indifferent to your needs. I see the burdens you carry, the fears that keep you awake at night, and the hopes you hold close to your heart. Trust me, my child, for I am the God who provides. My provision is not limited by the economy, your circumstances, or the opinions of others. It flows from my boundless grace and my unwavering commitment to care for you. When you pray, you are not trying to convince me to act, you are aligning your heart with mine. Prayer is not about the words you say, it is about the trust you place in me. Even a simple, heartfelt cry, Lord, help me, moves my heart. Do not underestimate the power of your prayers. They are like seeds planted in fertile soil. You may not see the harvest immediately, but trust that it is growing beneath the surface. The disciples' journey with me was filled with moments of waiting, wondering, and even struggling to believe. Yet, through it all, they were being prepared for something greater. The Last Supper was a pivotal moment in their journey, a moment where they were invited to lay down their fears and embrace the promise of my presence. You are invited to do the same. Bring your fears, your doubts, and your unanswered questions to me. Lay them at my feet, and trust that I am working all things together for your good. I know the waiting is not easy. It can feel like a storm raging within you, a constant battle between hope and despair. But hear me today, the storm will not last forever. Just as I calmed the seas for my disciples, I will bring peace to your heart. Trust in my timing, for it is perfect. Trust in my plan, for it is good. And trust in my love, for it is unchanging. The blessings I have for you are worth the wait. When the disciples shared the bread and wine with me, they were partaking in something far greater than they could comprehend, a covenant that would change the course of history. In the same way, the miracle you seek is part of a larger story, a testimony of my faithfulness that will inspire others and bring glory to my name. Let your waiting be a time of preparation, not despair. Use this time to draw closer to me, to strengthen your faith, and to rest in my promises. When you feel weary, remember that I am your strength. When you feel uncertain, remember that I am your guide. And when you feel forgotten, remember that I am always with you, beloved. Your prayer for financial miracle is not just a request, it is a declaration of trust in the one who holds all things in his hands. Trust me with your needs, and trust me with your heart. The waiting may feel long, but it is not wasted. It is a sacred time where your faith is being refined, your spirit is being strengthened, and your miracle is being prepared. As you wait, know this: I am with you. I am for you, and I will not fail you. The blessings I have prepared for you will arrive at the perfect time. overflowing with grace and provision. Hold on to my promises. And let your heart find rest in my unfailing love. The transformative power of trust, beloved. When you come to me with your prayer for financial miracle, you are not only seeking provision, you are stepping into the transformative journey of trust. Trust is the foundation of every miracle. The bridge between what you see and what I am preparing behind the scenes. The disciples at the Last Supper faced the same invitation to trust me fully, even when the path ahead seemed unclear. That evening, as I shared bread and wine, my words were not merely symbolic, they carried the weight of an eternal promise. This is my body, broken for you. This is my blood, poured out for the forgiveness of sins. These words invited the disciples to trust not only in my actions but in my very nature. My beloved, this invitation extends to you today. When you place your trust in me, you step into a covenant of grace and provision that cannot be shaken. Trust is not built in moments of certainty, it is forged in the waiting, in the silence, in the unknown. The disciples did not yet understand the fullness of what I was revealing at the Last Supper. They could not foresee the cross or the resurrection. Yet they chose to remain at the table, to partake in the bread and wine, and to trust that I was leading them towards something greater. In the same way, your trust in me during moments of uncertainty is a powerful act of faith. I see the questions that fill your heart. How will this need be met? When will my miracle come? Is my prayer even being heard? My child? Let me reassure you, I hear you. Your prayer for financial miracle is not forgotten. Trust that I am working with divine precision, aligning every detail, every connection, and every provision to meet your needs at the perfect time. My timing is not a delay, it is a preparation. The disciples' trust was tested not only at the Last Supper but in the days that followed. The cross, the burial, the silence of the tomb, all of these moments seemed to contradict the promises I had made. Yet, it was through this journey that they experienced the greatest miracle of all, the resurrection. Your journey may feel similar. The waiting may seem endless, and the silence may feel heavy. But trust me when I say that the resurrection moment, the fulfillment of your prayers, is on its way. Trust is not passive, it is active. When you trust me, you choose to lay down your fears and pick up my promises. You choose to believe that I am who I say I am, your provider, your sustainer, your healer. Trust is not about having all the answers, it is about believing that I am the answer. Just as the disciples trusted me with their uncertainties, I ask you to trust me with yours. Your prayer for financial miracle is a declaration of that trust. It is an acknowledgement that you cannot do this on your own and that you do not need to. I am with you, guiding you, and preparing blessings that are far greater than what you could imagine. Trust that the miracle you seek is already in motion, that the seeds of your prayers are growing into a harvest of provision and grace. Let this season of waiting be a season of transformation. As you trust me, your faith will grow stronger, your heart will find peace, and your perspective will shift from fear to hope. Trust is not just about receiving a miracle, it is about becoming a reflection of my love and faithfulness to the world around you. Your journey of trust is a testimony that will inspire others to place their trust in me. Beloved, know this, your trust in me is never misplaced. Just as the disciples saw the fulfillment of my promises in the resurrection, you too will see the fulfillment of your prayers. Trust in my timing. Rest in my presence. and let your heart be anchored in my love. The blessings I have prepared for you are already on their way, and they will arrive at the perfect time. The gift of humility in faith, beloved. When you come before me with your prayer for financial miracle, it is not the eloquence of your words or the strength of your actions that moves my heart, it is the humility in your faith. At the Last Supper, I invited my disciples into a moment of profound intimacy and service. I knelt before them, washing their feet, not as a display of authority, but as a demonstration of love and humility. This act was a message: the greatest faith is born from a humble heart. Humility is not weakness, it is the strength to recognize your dependence on me, just as the disciples allowed me to wash their feet, trusting that my love for them was unchanging. I invite you to lay down your pride and fears, trusting that I will meet your every need. The table I prepare for you is not earned by your worthiness but offered by my grace. Your humility in trusting me opens the door to blessings far greater than you could imagine. When you lift your prayers to me, especially in moments of uncertainty, know that humility is the bridge that connects your heart to mine. It is not about bringing solutions to the table, it is about bringing your faith, no matter how small it may feel. Just as I welcomed the disciples to partake in the bread and wine, I welcome you into the fullness of my provision and love. Humility invites you to let go of your burdens and to trust in my ability to carry them for you. The disciples, though flawed and uncertain, trusted me enough to stay at the table. They didn't need to understand every detail of my plan, they simply needed to trust that I would fulfill my promises. In the same way, your faith does not need to be perfect. What I desire is a heart that trusts, a spirit that is willing to surrender control, and a humility that says, Lord, I trust you with everything. Your prayer for financial miracle is not measured by the size of your request but by the humility in your trust. I see the burdens you carry, the doubts that creep into your mind, and the fears that whisper that you are unworthy. Let me assure you, my child, that your worth is not found in your circumstances, it is found in me. Humility allows you to rest in this truth, to let go of striving, and to embrace the grace I freely give. Do not fear the waiting. Just as I knelt before my disciples, showing them that love serves even in the smallest of acts, I am working in the details of your life. The miracle you seek is already being prepared, and your humility positions you to receive it. Trust that even when the answers feel delayed, I am aligning every piece of the puzzle for your good. Let this truth encourage you: the blessings I have for you are not dependent on your perfection but on my love. When you humble yourself before me, you create space for my power to move, my grace to flow, and my promises to be fulfilled. Your trust in me, expressed through your humility, is a declaration that you believe in my ability to do far more than you could ever ask or imagine. Beloved, approach me with confidence, knowing that humility does not diminish your faith, it magnifies it. The disciples may not have understood the fullness of the Last Supper in that moment, but their willingness to trust and follow me led to the fulfillment of my promises. In the same way, your humility in this journey will lead to a testimony of my faithfulness in your life. Hold on to this truth: I am with you, I hear you, and I honor the humility in your faith. The miracle you seek is on its way, and it will come with grace and abundance. Rest in my love, and let your heart be filled with the peace that only I can give. The miracle of persistent faith, beloved. Persistence in faith is the key that unlocks the doors of heaven. When you come to me with your prayer for financial miracle, I see not just the words you speak, but the trust you place in me despite the obstacles. At the Last Supper, the disciples sat in my presence, carrying uncertainties about what lay ahead. Yet they stayed. Their willingness to remain, even when understanding was incomplete, speaks of the power of persistence. Persistence is not about repeating your prayers out of desperation, it is about declaring your faith in my ability to act. The disciples may not have fully comprehended the significance of the bread and wine that evening, but they trusted me enough to partake. Similarly, your prayers, no matter how simple or uncertain, are acts of faith that draw you closer to me. Each time you pray, you affirm that I am your provider, your sustainer, and your unfailing source of strength. Do not let silence discourage you. My timing is not a reflection of indifference but of preparation. When the disciples witnessed my crucifixion, they faced silence and doubt. But it was in the waiting that their faith was refined, and in the resurrection that their trust was rewarded. Your waiting is no different. The silence you feel now is not the absence of my presence, it is the space where your faith grows stronger, where your trust deepens, and where I prepare the miracle you have asked for. Persistence is the language of trust. When you persist in prayer, you are not convincing me to act, you are aligning your heart with mine. You are declaring, Lord, I believe that your promises are true and that your plans for me are good. This faith moves mountains, not because of the strength of your words but because of the power of the one you trust. Your prayer for financial miracle is precious to me, and I am weaving it into the fabric of a plan far greater than you can see. Consider the disciples' journey beyond the Last Supper. They faced fear, trials, and moments of doubt. Yet they persevered. Their persistence led them to witness my resurrection, to receive the Holy Spirit, and to carry the message of hope to the world. In the same way, your persistence is not only about the miracle you seek but also about the transformation happening within you. It is preparing you to walk boldly in the blessings I am bringing into your life. Let your persistence be a testimony of your faith. The world may tell you to give up, to stop believing, or to turn to your own strength. But I tell you, keep praying, keep trusting, and keep seeking me. Your persistence is not unnoticed, and it is not in vain. I am the God who honors faith, and I will not fail to fulfill my promises to you. Your prayer for financial miracle is already in motion. Trust that the seeds you have planted in faith are growing, even if you cannot yet see the harvest. Each prayer is a step closer to the fulfillment of my promises. I am working in ways you cannot yet perceive, aligning every detail, and preparing blessings that will exceed your expectations. Hold on, beloved. The miracle you seek is near. Your persistence, rooted in trust, is a declaration of your faith in my love and power. Just as I honored the disciples' faith through the resurrection, I will honor yours with the blessings you have asked for. The waiting may be long, but the reward will be abundant, overflowing with my grace and provision. Rest in this truth: your persistence is not a cry into the void, it is a powerful act of faith that moves my heart. The miracle you seek is already written in my plans, and it will come in its perfect time. Trust in me, and let your faith be unwavering. For I am with you always, the assurance of God's faithfulness, beloved. Let me remind you of a truth that stands unshaken: my promises to you are unwavering. When you bring your prayer for financial miracle to me, you are not placing your trust in fleeting circumstances, you are anchoring your faith in the God who never fails. At the Last Supper, I made a covenant with my disciples, declaring through the bread and wine that my love and provision are eternal. This covenant was not just for them, it is for you too. Faithfulness is not just what I do, it is who I am. Even when your world feels uncertain, I remain constant. When the disciples heard my words at the Last Supper, they could not fully grasp the depth of what was unfolding. Yet, I assured them that my body, broken for them, and my blood, poured out for their forgiveness, were the ultimate signs of my faithfulness. In the same way, I am faithful to you, meeting your needs and preparing blessings beyond what you can imagine. I know the doubts that arise in your heart when the answers seem delayed. You may wonder if I have forgotten your prayers or if I am distant in your struggles. Let me assure you, my child, I am closer than you think. I am the God who sees, the God who hears, and the God who provides. Your prayer for financial miracle has not fallen on deaf ears. I am working in ways you cannot see, aligning every piece of your life for the fulfillment of my promises. Faithfulness does not mean you will never face challenges, it means that I will never leave you in them. Just as I walked with the disciples through their moments of doubt and fear, I walk with you now. The waiting is not a sign of neglect, it is a season of preparation. I am refining your heart, strengthening your faith, and positioning you to receive the blessings I have prepared. The disciples, though filled with uncertainties, trusted in my words. Their faith carried them through the trials of the coming days, and they witnessed the miracle of the resurrection. Your journey is no different. Though the road may seem long, my faithfulness will carry you through. I will not abandon you, and I will not fail to fulfill the promises I have made to you. When you pray, remember that my faithfulness is not dependent on your circumstances. It is not swayed by the challenges you face or the time it takes for your miracle to unfold. My promises to you are as sure today as they were at the Last Supper. The bread and wine you partake in are reminders of this covenant, a covenant of love, provision, and unshakable faithfulness. Let your heart rest in this truth: I am faithful to complete the work I have begun in you. Your prayer for financial miracle is not forgotten, it is cherished and woven into my divine plan. Trust that the blessings I have prepared will arrive at the perfect time, overflowing with grace and abundance. Beloved, my faithfulness is your foundation. It is the anchor in the storm, the light in the darkness, and the assurance that I am with you always. When doubts arise, return to my promises. When fears creep in, rest in my presence. I will never leave you, and I will never fail you. The blessings I have for you are already on their way. Hold on to my promises, and let your heart be filled with peace, knowing that my faithfulness will never waver. Trust in me, and let your faith grow stronger in the waiting. For I am the God who keeps his word, the peace that surpasses all understanding, beloved. When the waves of life feel overwhelming, and the weight of unanswered prayers presses heavy on your heart, remember this: I am the God of peace. When you lift your prayer for financial miracle, you are not only seeking provision but also the reassurance that I am with you, working for your good. At the Last Supper, I gave my disciples a gift beyond comprehension, my peace. This same peace is available to you today. The disciples sat at the table, uncertain of what was to come. They knew change was imminent. Yet they did not fully grasp the depth of my words. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. That peace was not dependent on their understanding or their circumstances. It was a divine assurance that I was in control, that I would never abandon them, and that my presence would sustain them through every trial. You, too, are invited to receive this peace, a peace that transcends understanding and guards your heart against fear and doubt. Your prayer for financial miracle is not just about meeting your needs, it is an opportunity to experience my peace in the midst of the storm. When the answers seem delayed, and the waiting feels endless, let my peace fill the spaces where anxiety tries to creep in. Peace does not mean the absence of challenges, it means my presence within them. Just as I was with the disciples in their uncertainty, I am with you now. When you feel overwhelmed, come to me. Bring your fears, your doubts, and your burdens. Let my peace quiet your mind and renew your spirit. Trust that I am working, even when the path ahead seems unclear. The Last Supper was not just a meal, it was a moment of preparation. I prepared my disciples for the trials they would face, equipping them with my peace and my promises. In the same way, I am preparing you. The waiting, the questions, and even the struggles are not meant to break you, they are shaping you, strengthening your faith, and positioning you for the blessings I have planned. Your prayer for financial miracle is not forgotten, and the peace I offer is your assurance that I am in control. My peace is a gift, not something you have to earn or strive for. It is freely given, poured out from my heart to yours. When you feel anxious, remember that my peace is greater than your fears. When you feel weary, rest in the knowledge that I am carrying you through. Beloved, let this truth settle deep within you. I am the God who calms the storm and stills the raging seas. My peace is not fragile, it is a fortress that guards your heart and mind. No matter what you face, my peace is your anchor, your shield, and your comfort. Hold fast to this gift. Let my peace guide you as you wait for the fulfillment of your prayers. Trust that the blessings I have prepared for you will come at the right time, in the right way, and with the fullness of my love. My peace is with you always, and it will sustain you through every moment of waiting. Let your heart rest, my beloved child. The answers you seek are coming, and my peace is your assurance that you are never alone. Trust in me, and let my peace fill you with hope, strength, and unwavering faith. The power of hope in God's perfect timing, beloved. Your prayer for financial miracle is not just a cry for provision, it is an act of hope in my unfailing promises. At the Last Supper, as I shared the bread and wine with my disciples, I spoke of a future hope, a kingdom yet to come, where all would be made new. This hope was not tied to the immediate circumstances they faced but anchored in the certainty of my eternal plan. In the same way, I ask you to place your hope in me, trusting that my timing is perfect. Hope is not merely wishful thinking, it is the confident expectation that I am working all things together for your good. The disciples may not have understood the fullness of my words that evening, but they chose to remain in my presence, trusting that I held their future in my hands. Your hope in me is a declaration that you believe I am faithful, that my promises are true, and that my plans for you are good. I know the waiting is hard, and the silence can feel unbearable. But do not let these moments shake your hope. Just as the disciples endured the darkness of the cross, only to witness the glory of the resurrection, your waiting is preparing you for a breakthrough that will exceed your expectations. The miracle you seek is not delayed, it is being perfectly aligned with my plan for your life. Your prayer for financial miracle is part of a greater story, a story of my provision, grace, and faithfulness. Each time you pray, you are planting seeds of hope that will bear fruit in due time. Trust that I am nurturing those seeds, watering them with my love and care, and preparing a harvest that will be abundant beyond what you can imagine. Hope does not deny the reality of your struggles, it declares that those struggles are not the end. It reminds you that I am greater than any challenge you face. When you place your hope in me, you are not ignoring your circumstances, you are choosing to trust in my ability to transform them. Just as I turned the sorrow of the cross into the joy of salvation, I will turn your trials into testimonies of my goodness. The disciples clung to my words, even when they didn't fully understand. They hoped in the promise of my presence, and that hope carried them through the darkest moments of their journey. In the same way, let your hope in me be the light that guides you through the uncertainty. Trust that I am with you, that I hear your prayers, and that I am working for your good. Beloved, hope is the anchor for your soul. It keeps you steady when the storms of life try to toss you about. Let your hope in me be unshakable, knowing that my timing is perfect and my plans for you are good. The blessings I have prepared for you will not just meet your needs, they will overflow, revealing the depth of my love and the abundance of my provision. Your prayer for financial miracle is a testament to your faith in my ability to provide. Trust that the answers you seek are already being prepared and that they will arrive in my perfect time. Let hope fill your heart with peace, knowing that I am the God who never fails. Rest in this truth. My beloved child, your hope in me is not in vain. The blessings I have for you are worth the wait, and they will come in ways that will leave you in awe. Trust in my timing, and let your heart be filled with the hope that comes from knowing I am with you always. The renewal of strength through faith, beloved. When you bring your prayer for financial miracle to me, you are not only asking for provision, you are stepping into a process of renewal. At the Last Supper, as I shared bread and wine with my disciples, I was not just offering them sustenance for the moment, I was offering strength for the journey ahead. This strength was not physical but spiritual, a renewal that would carry them through the trials and uncertainties of the days to come. Your faith is like a flame that burns brighter in the presence of my promises. I know the challenges you face may sometimes feel overwhelming, like waves crashing against a fragile shore. But let me remind you that I am the rock beneath those waves, unshakable and steadfast. Each time you lift your prayers to me, you are being renewed, your faith strengthened, and your spirit prepared to receive the blessings I have for you. The disciples' journey after the Last Supper was fraught with trials. They witnessed betrayal, fear, and the sorrow of my crucifixion. Yet, through all this, their faith was being refined. Their trust in me became their anchor, and their hope in my promises carried them forward. In the same way, your journey of faith is refining you, shaping you, and renewing you for the blessings that lie ahead. Faith is not about the absence of struggles, it is about finding strength in my presence. When you feel weary, know that I am the one who renews your strength. When you feel uncertain, trust that I am guiding your steps. Your prayer for financial miracle is not just a request, it is a declaration of your trust in me. A reminder that you are relying on my power rather than your own. Renewal comes in the waiting. It is in these moments of trust that your faith grows deeper. Your hope becomes stronger. And your perspective shifts from fear to confidence in my plan. The disciples were renewed not because they understood every detail of my plan, but because they chose to trust me. This same renewal is available to you. My child, come to me, and let me restore your spirit, strengthen your heart, and prepare you for the blessings I am bringing into your life. The miracle you seek is not just about meeting your needs, it is about transforming your heart, renewing your faith, and aligning you with my purpose. Your prayer for financial miracle is a part of this process, a step in the journey that leads to the fullness of my promises. Trust that I am working in you and through you, even in the waiting. Beloved, let me remind you of my promise: those who wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength, they shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. This renewal is not just for the future, it is happening now. As you place your faith in me, each prayer, each act of trust, is a step closer to the miracle I am preparing for you. Let your heart find rest in this truth: I am the one who renews your strength, who sustains you in the waiting, and who fulfills every promise I have made. Trust in me, and let your faith be the source of your renewal. The blessings I have prepared for you are on their way, and they will come with an overflow of grace, provision, and joy. You are being renewed. My beloved child, your faith is growing, your hope is steadfast, and your miracle is nearer than you think. Rest in my love, and let the renewal of your spirit be your strength as you wait for the fulfillment of my promises. The fulfillment of God's promises, beloved. The waiting is over. The prayer for financial miracle that you have faithfully lifted to me has been answered, and the blessings I have prepared for you are now unfolding. Every moment of trust, every act of faith, and every tear you shed in hope has brought you to this moment of fulfillment. I have heard you, I have seen you, and I have acted on your behalf. At the Last Supper, I told my disciples, "Do this in remembrance of me." Those words were not just a call to remember the bread and wine, they were a call to remember my promises, my presence, and my power. Today, as you step into the blessings I have prepared for you, let your heart be filled with gratitude and faith. Remember that I am the God who provides, who sustains, and who fulfills every word I have spoken. The blessings I have given you are not just about meeting your needs, they are a testament to my love and faithfulness. They are a reminder that I am with you in every season, working all things together for your good. As you receive these blessings, let them inspire you to walk boldly in faith, knowing that I will continue to guide and provide for you. This is not the end of your journey, it is a new beginning. The disciples, after witnessing my resurrection, were not called to rest, but to go out into the world, sharing the message of hope and salvation. In the same way, your blessings are not just for you, they are an opportunity to be a light to others, to share your testimony, and to declare my faithfulness. Let this truth anchor your heart: I am the God who hears prayers, who honors faith, and who provides abundantly. The miracle you sought has become a reality. But my work in your life is not finished. There is more to come, greater blessings, deeper faith, and a closer relationship with me. Now go forward, my beloved child. With confidence and joy, share your testimony. Live in the fullness of my love, and trust that I will continue to walk with you every step of the way. The best is yet to come, and my promises to you are eternal. Rest in this truth: you are deeply loved, fully seen, and richly blessed. The miracle you have received is a reflection of my heart for you, a heart that is always for you, always with you, and always faithful. Humility, the foundation of financial stewardship, my beloved child. Let me whisper a truth that will anchor your heart: greatness begins with humility. At the Last Supper, I knelt before my disciples, taking the position of a servant, and washed their feet. This act was not just a gesture, it was a divine invitation to embrace a heart of service and surrender. In the same way, as you bring your prayer for financial miracle to me, understand that humility is the foundation upon which true abundance is built. Humility allows you to recognize that every resource, every blessing, flows from my hand. It shifts your heart from striving to surrender, from control to trust. When you see your finances not as something to own, but as something to steward, you step into alignment with my purpose for you. Just as I knelt before my disciples in love, I call you to approach your financial life with the same spirit, willing to serve, to give, and to trust in my provision. The disciples, though hesitant at first, allowed me to wash their feet, acknowledging their need for my cleansing. In the same way, I ask you to lay down your pride, your fears, and your uncertainties. Trust me to guide your steps, to provide for your needs, and to bring clarity to your decisions. Humility opens the door to wisdom, and wisdom leads to abundance, not just in wealth but in peace, purpose, and joy. Your prayer for financial miracle is not just a request, it is an act of trust. When you surrender your plans to me, you are declaring that I am your provider, your sustainer, and your source. Trust that I see your needs, and I am already working to meet them. Like the bread and wine I shared at the table, my provision for you is sufficient, overflowing, and rooted in my love. Beloved, humility is not about lessening your worth, it is about elevating my ability to work through you. When you approach me with a humble heart, you create space for my power to move in ways beyond your imagination. Trust that as you lean on me, I will guide you to steward your resources wisely, to bless others generously, and to live in the fullness of my provision. Let your heart rest in this truth: I am with you, I see you, and I will provide. Approach your finances with humility, and watch as I transform your circumstances, pouring out blessings that reflect my endless grace and love for you. Serving others through financial stewardship. At the Last Supper, Jesus knelt to wash the feet of his disciples, an act of humility that redefined greatness. This moment was a powerful reminder that every blessing we receive is not solely for ourselves but is meant to flow outward to others. Financial stewardship, like service, begins with a heart willing to see beyond personal gain and focus on the needs of others. When you lift your prayer for financial miracle, understand that part of my answer is preparing you to be a blessing. Resources entrusted to you are not simply for your security, they are tools for you to reflect my love and care in the world. Whether it is a small gift to someone in need or a significant act of generosity, your willingness to serve through your finances is a reflection of your trust in me. The world teaches that wealth is about accumulation. But my way is different. True abundance is found in giving, in serving, and in trusting that I am the ultimate provider. Just as I used simple bread and wine to signify an eternal covenant, I can use the resources in your hands, no matter how small they may seem, to create lasting impact. Trust that when you give, I will multiply what remains and ensure that you lack nothing. Let your heart be open to the opportunities I place before you to serve through your finances. A kind word, a helping hand, or a generous act can change lives in ways you may never see. Your faithfulness in serving others is not just a reflection of your love for me, it is also a testament to your belief that I will supply all your needs according to my riches in glory. Remember, my child, the resources you steward are not simply a measure of your work, they are gifts of my grace. Use them wisely, generously, and humbly. When you serve others, you are not only fulfilling my purpose but also positioning yourself to receive even greater blessings. Trust in my promise that as you give, it will be given back to you. Pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Faithful stewardship, managing finances as God's trust. The bread and wine at the Last Supper were simple elements, yet they held profound significance. They represented not only my body and blood but also the heart of stewardship, a reminder that what you hold in your hands carries purpose far beyond what you can see. Your prayer for financial miracle is not just a request for provision, it is an opportunity for you to align your financial life with my greater purpose. To live as a faithful steward is to recognize that everything you have is a gift from me, entrusted to you for a time, and meant to bring glory to my name. Stewardship is not about ownership, it is about trust. The resources you manage, whether great or small, are not truly yours, they are mine. Given to you to use wisely, generously, and with a heart of gratitude. Just as I entrusted the disciples with the bread and wine, inviting them to share in my covenant, I entrust you with the resources I provide, calling you to use them in ways that honor me. When you come to me with your prayer for financial miracle, I see not only your needs but also the potential of what I have placed in your hands. Stewardship begins with acknowledging that I am the source of all provision. It requires humility to surrender the illusion of control and to trust that I know what is best for you. Like the disciples who accepted the bread and wine without fully understanding, I ask you to trust me, even when the path forward feels uncertain. Faithful stewardship is an act of worship. It is not merely about budgeting or saving, it is about aligning your financial decisions with my kingdom values. This means using your resources to serve others, to invest in eternal purposes, and to reflect my character to the world. When you give generously, you demonstrate your trust in me as your provider. When you manage your finances wisely, you reflect my wisdom. And when you steward what I have given you with gratitude, you honor me. Consider the disciples at the Last Supper. They received the bread and wine as symbols of my covenant. But they also received a responsibility to carry my message of hope, grace, and salvation to the world. In the same way, your resources are not just for your benefit, they are tools for advancing my kingdom. Your faithfulness in stewardship allows you to participate in my work, bringing light to dark places and hope to those in need. Stewardship requires both faith and action. It is not enough to pray for a financial breakthrough, you must also take steps to manage your resources with wisdom and integrity. This means setting aside pride, seeking guidance, and being willing to learn. It means creating a plan that reflects your trust in me, giving generously, saving wisely, and avoiding the traps of debt and greed. Stewardship is not about perfection, it is about progress. About daily choosing to trust me with what you have. Your prayer for financial miracle is not just about receiving more, it is about using what you have in ways that honor me. When you surrender your finances to me, you open the door for me to bless you abundantly. Not only with provision but also with peace, purpose, and joy. Trust that as you honor me with your resources, I will pour out blessings that overflow, meeting not only your needs but also the needs of those around you. Stewardship also involves accountability. Just as the disciples were called to share the message of the gospel, you are called to use your financial resources to reflect my love and grace. This means being mindful of how you spend, save, and give. It means seeking my guidance in your decisions and being willing to adjust when necessary. Stewardship is not about perfection but about faithfulness, about consistently choosing to trust me with what you have. Beloved, remember this: I am the God who provides. I am the source of every blessing, and I am faithful to meet your needs. When you come to me with your prayer for financial miracle, trust that I am not only able to provide but also willing to guide you in how to steward those blessings. My provision is not just for your benefit, it is for my glory and the good of others. When you manage your finances with this perspective, you align yourself with my purpose and position yourself to receive even greater blessings. Stewardship is also about legacy. The decisions you make today will impact not only your life but also the lives of those who come after you. Just as the covenant I made with the disciples extends to all who believe. Your faithfulness in stewardship creates a ripple effect that touches generations. By managing your resources wisely and generously, you leave a legacy of faith, hope, and love. Finally, remember that stewardship is a journey. It is not about achieving perfection overnight but about daily choosing to trust me, to honor me, and to use your resources for my glory. Your prayer for financial miracle is an important part of this journey. A declaration that you are trusting me to provide and guide as you walk this path. Know that I am with you every step of the way, equipping you with wisdom, strength, and peace. Beloved, let your heart be encouraged. You are not alone in this journey of stewardship. I see your faith. I hear your prayers. And I am working to meet your needs. Trust that as you align your financial life with my purpose, you will experience the joy of living as a faithful steward of my blessings. The miracle you seek is on its way, and it will bring not only provision but also a deeper understanding of my love and faithfulness. The trust that unlocks provision, beloved. The essence of trust is surrender, releasing control and believing in my ability to provide, guide, and sustain. At the Last Supper, as I shared the bread and wine with my disciples, I was inviting them into a deeper relationship of trust. They did not fully understand the journey ahead, but their willingness to remain with me was a testament to their faith. In the same way, your prayer for financial miracle is not only about the provision you seek but also about the trust you place in me as your provider. Trust is not built in moments of certainty, but in seasons of waiting. I know the waiting is hard. and the silence can feel overwhelming. The disciples experienced this too. After the Last Supper, they faced the uncertainty of the crucifixion and the silence of the tomb. Yet, it was in those moments of waiting that their faith was refined. Their trust deepened, and their hearts prepared for the resurrection. Your waiting is no different. It is a sacred time where I am working behind the scenes, aligning every detail for your good. When you lift your prayer for financial miracle, you are declaring that I am your source. You are acknowledging that your trust is not in the economy, your job, or your own efforts, but in me. This trust is not passive, it is active. It moves you to take steps of faith, to steward your resources wisely, and to align your actions with my promises. Trust is not about understanding every detail of my plan, it is about believing that I am working all things together for your good. Let me remind you of a truth that will strengthen your heart: I am faithful to fulfill my promises. Just as I provided manna in the wilderness for the Israelites, I will provide for you. My provision is not limited by your circumstances or the size of your need. When you trust me, you open the door for my blessings to flow into your life in ways that exceed your expectations. Trust is the key that unlocks the treasures of heaven. The disciples trusted me with their uncertainties, and I ask the same of you. Trust me with your doubts, your fears, and your questions. Bring them to me, and let me replace them with peace, assurance, and clarity. Your prayer for financial miracle is not just about receiving provision, it is about growing in your faith and learning to rely on me completely. Trust transforms your waiting into a testimony of my faithfulness. Trust also requires obedience. Just as the disciples followed my instructions to prepare for the Passover meal, I call you to take steps of faith in your financial life. Whether it is giving generously, creating a budget, or seeking wisdom in your decisions, trust leads to action. Obedience is an expression of your faith, and it positions you to receive the blessings I have prepared for you. Beloved, do not let fear or doubt rob you of the peace I offer. Trust is not about eliminating uncertainty, it is about finding rest in my promises. When you place your trust in me, you are building your life on a foundation that cannot be shaken. Your prayer for financial miracle is a powerful declaration of your trust in my ability to provide. Let that trust be your anchor in every season. Remember, I am the God who parts the seas, who calms the storms, and who provides for every need. My timing is perfect, and my provision is abundant. Trust that I am with you, working in ways you cannot see, and preparing blessings that will exceed your greatest hopes. Let your heart be filled with peace, knowing that I am your provider. Your prayer for financial miracle has not been forgotten, it is cherished, and I am working to fulfill it. Trust me, my child, and watch as I transform your circumstances. Strengthen your faith, and pour out blessings that reflect my unchanging love for you. The overflow of generosity, beloved. Let me remind you of a truth that will transform how you see your resources. Generosity is the overflow of a heart anchored in trust. At the Last Supper, I did not withhold anything from my disciples. I shared the bread and wine as symbols of my body and blood, freely given for their redemption. This act was not just a demonstration of love, it was an invitation to live generously, trusting that my provision is limitless. Your prayer for financial miracle is not just about receiving, it is about creating space for generosity to flow through you. Generosity begins with gratitude. When you recognize that every resource you have comes from me, your heart is filled with thanksgiving. This gratitude becomes the foundation for giving, a response to the blessings you have received. Just as I gave freely at the Last Supper, I call you to give freely, trusting that your needs will always be met. Generosity is not measured by the amount you give but by the heart with which you give. When you lift your prayer for financial miracle, know that part of my answer involves positioning you to be a blessing to others. Generosity is a reflection of my character, a testament to the trust you place in me as your provider. Each act of giving, no matter how small, is a seed planted in faith. Trust that I will multiply what you give, bringing blessings not only to those you help but also to your own life. The disciples at the Last Supper received the bread and wine not only for themselves but as a commission to share the message of hope and salvation with the world. In the same way, your resources are not just for your own benefit, they are tools for advancing my kingdom. When you use what you have to serve others, you align yourself with my purpose and open the door for even greater blessings. Generosity requires faith. It asks you to give, even when your resources feel limited, trusting that I will supply your every need. Just as I fed the multitudes with a few loaves and fish, I can take what you offer and multiply it beyond what you can imagine. Your willingness to give is a declaration of your faith in my ability to provide abundantly. Let your giving be guided by love, not obligation. True generosity flows from a heart that desires to reflect my love to the world. Whether it is through financial support, acts of service, or words of encouragement, every gift given in love carries eternal significance. Your prayer for financial miracle is not just about receiving provision, it is about participating in the miracle of generosity, allowing my blessings to flow through you to others. Remember, generosity is not about losing, it is about gaining. When you give, you are storing up treasures in heaven, building a legacy of faith and love that will endure forever. Trust that I see every act of kindness, every sacrifice, and every step of faith. I am faithful to reward those who give with a heart of trust and joy. Beloved, let your heart be open to the opportunities I place before you to give. Do not fear scarcity, for I am the God of abundance. Your generosity is a reflection of your trust in me, and it positions you to receive the blessings I have prepared for you. Trust that as you give, I will give back to you. Pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Let this truth encourage you: the resources in your hands are not just for you, they are a gift to be shared, a reflection of my love, and a tool for my kingdom. Your prayer for financial miracle is not just about what you receive, it is about the impact you can make through what you give. Trust in my provision, and let your generosity flow from a heart filled with faith and gratitude. The assurance of God's provision, beloved. Let me speak to your heart: I am the God who provides, and my provision is as steady as the rising sun. At the Last Supper, when I broke the bread and shared the wine, I was not merely offering symbols, I was making a promise. A promise that I would sustain, restore, and provide for my children in every season of their lives. Your prayer for financial miracle is not just heard, it is cherished. And I am working to meet your needs in ways that will leave you in awe. Provision begins with trust. The bread and wine were simple elements, yet they held profound meaning. In the same way, the resources in your life may seem ordinary, but when placed in my hands, they are transformed. Trust that what you have is enough for me to work with. Just as I fed the multitudes with a few loaves and fish, I will take what you offer and multiply it, ensuring that you lack nothing. I see the concerns that weigh on your heart, the bills, the responsibilities, the uncertainties about the future. Let me remind you that I am not indifferent to your needs. Your prayer for financial miracle is not an empty plea, it is a declaration of your dependence on me. Trust that I am not just aware of your situation but actively working to provide for you in ways that go beyond your understanding. At the Last Supper, I assured my disciples that they would not face the coming days alone. I gave them my peace and my presence as they stepped into the unknown. In the same way, I am with you now, offering not only provision for your physical needs but also peace for your heart and strength for your spirit. My provision is holistic, it meets you where you are and carries you to where I want you to be. Provision also requires obedience. The disciples trusted me enough to follow my instructions, even when they didn't fully understand. In the same way, I ask you to trust my guidance in your financial decisions. Whether it's being faithful in giving, managing your resources wisely, or stepping out in faith, your obedience is an act of trust that opens the door for my blessings to flow. Your prayer for financial miracle is not just about receiving, it's about aligning your heart with my will. When you trust me as your provider, you shift your focus from scarcity to abundance. You begin to see that my provision is not limited by circumstances or human logic. My blessings are not random, they are intentional, tailored to meet your needs and to demonstrate my love for you. Let this truth settle in your heart. I see you, I know you, and I will provide for you. Just as I sustained the Israelites in the wilderness with manna each day, I will sustain you. My provision may not always come in the way you expect, but it will always come in the way you need. Trust that I am working behind the scenes, orchestrating details you cannot see to ensure that your needs are met. Remember, beloved, my provision is not only for today, it is for every season of your life. When you trust me, you are building a foundation of faith that will carry you through any challenge. Your prayer for financial miracle is a testament to your faith, and I will honor that faith with blessings that overflow. Let your heart be at peace. My provision is not limited by time, space, or human effort. It flows from my love, my grace, and my unchanging nature. Trust me to provide, and know that I am faithful to fulfill every promise I have made to you. Faith in the midst of uncertainty, beloved. Faith is not tested in times of certainty, it is forged in the fire of the unknown. At the Last Supper, my disciples sat with questions lingering in their hearts. They didn't fully understand the journey ahead or the trials they would face, but they chose to stay. They chose to trust. In the same way, your prayer for financial miracle is not just about the provision you seek, it is a declaration of faith in me, even when the path forward seems unclear. Faith is not about having all the answers, it is about trusting in the one who holds all the answers. Just as the disciples clung to my words at the table, I invite you to hold on to my promises. When you feel the weight of uncertainty pressing down, remember this: I am with you, I am for you, and I am working on your behalf. Uncertainty has a way of magnifying fear, but let me assure you, my child, fear has no place where my love dwells. Your faith in me is greater than the doubts that whisper in your mind. Just as I calmed the storm for my disciples, I will calm the storm in your heart. Your prayer for financial miracle may feel unanswered now. But trust that I am orchestrating every detail with divine precision. My timing is perfect. And my plans for you are good. The disciples at the Last Supper faced the greatest uncertainty of their lives, the betrayal, the crucifixion, the silence of the tomb. Yet, through their faith, they witnessed the miracle of the resurrection. In the same way, the uncertainties you face are not the end of your story. They are the soil in which your faith grows, the foundation upon which your testimony is built. Faith in uncertainty requires action. Just as the disciples prepared the Passover meal in obedience to my instructions, I ask you to take steps of faith in your financial life. Whether it's creating a plan, seeking counsel, or being faithful in generosity, your actions are an expression of your trust in me. Faith is not passive, it is active, moving you forward even when the destination is not yet visible. Your prayer for financial miracle is not about the size of your faith but about the size of the God in whom you trust. Even a mustard seed of faith can move mountains because it is rooted in my power, not your own. Trust that I see your faith, and I will honor it with blessings that exceed your expectations. Let your faith be anchored in my promises. The disciples may not have understood every word I spoke at the table, but they trusted in my character. In the same way, your faith is not about understanding every detail of my plan but about believing in who I am. I am your provider, your sustainer, and your peace. Trust me, even in the uncertainty, and watch as I turn your trials into triumphs. Beloved, the journey of faith is not always easy, but it is always worth it. The blessings I have prepared for you are greater than the challenges you face. Your prayer for financial miracle is part of a larger story, a testimony of my faithfulness that will inspire others and bring glory to my name. Let this truth strengthen your heart. I am with you in the uncertainty. Your faith in me is not misplaced, and your trust will not be in vain. Hold on, for the answers you seek are coming, and they will arrive with the fullness of my grace and provision. The peace that comes with trust, beloved. Peace is not the absence of challenges but the presence of trust in the one who holds all things together. At the Last Supper, I offered my disciples a gift that would sustain them through the trials ahead. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. This peace is not fleeting or dependent on circumstances, it is eternal and unshakable. Your prayer for financial miracle is not just about provision, it is an invitation to experience my peace in the waiting. The disciples, though surrounded by uncertainty, received my peace because they trusted in my promises. They didn't fully understand the events unfolding before them, but they chose to rest in my words. In the same way, I call you to lay down your fears, your doubts, and your anxieties at my feet. Let my peace fill the spaces where worry tries to take root, reminding you that I am in control. Peace begins with trust. When you trust me as your provider, you free your heart from the weight of worry. Your prayer for financial miracle is not just a request for provision, it is a declaration that you believe in my ability to meet your needs. Trust that I see you, I hear you, and I am working behind the scenes to bring blessings into your life. My timing may not align with yours, but it is always perfect. Let this truth settle in your heart. My peace is not fragile. It stands firm, even in the midst of storms. Just as I calmed the seas for my disciples, I will calm the storms in your heart. When anxiety rises, Turn to me. Bring your concerns to me in prayer. And let my peace guard your heart and mind. Your prayer for financial miracle is not ignored, it is cherished. And I am orchestrating every detail for your good. Peace also involves action. It is not passive but active, requiring you to take steps of faith. Just as the disciples prepared the Passover meal in obedience to my instructions, I ask you to take practical steps in your financial journey. Whether it's creating a budget, seeking wise counsel, or being faithful in generosity, these actions reflect your trust in me and allow my peace to guide your decisions. Beloved, do not let worry steal the joy of my provision. My peace is a gift that sustains you, reminding you that I am with you in every moment. When the weight of uncertainty feels heavy, return to my promises. Remember that I am your provider, your sustainer, and your source of strength. Trust in me, and let my peace renew your spirit. The peace I offer is not temporary, it is eternal. It is a peace that surpasses understanding, guarding your heart and mind as you navigate the challenges of life. Your prayer for financial miracle is a testament to your trust in me, and I will honor that trust with blessings that reflect my love and faithfulness. Let your heart rest in this truth: I am with you, and my peace is your strength. The blessings you seek are on their way, and they will come with the fullness of my grace and provision. Trust in my peace, and let it guide you as you wait for the fulfillment of my promises. The strength found in surrender, beloved. True strength is not found in striving, it is found in surrender. At the Last Supper, as I broke the bread and poured the wine, I invited my disciples into a moment of profound surrender. They did not yet understand the weight of my words or the depth of the journey ahead, but they chose to trust me. Your prayer for financial miracle is not only an act of faith, it is a surrender of control. A declaration that you believe in my ability to guide, provide, and sustain. Surrender is not about giving up, it is about giving over. It is about placing your burdens, fears, and uncertainties into my hands and trusting that I will carry them for you. When you surrender your financial concerns to me, you free yourself from the weight of worry and open the door for my strength to flow into your life. Trust that I am working, even when you cannot see the results yet. My plans for you are good, and my timing is perfect. Strength in surrender begins with acknowledgement. Recognize that I am the source of every blessing in your life. The disciples, though imperfect in their understanding, trusted me enough to share in the bread and wine. They placed their faith in my words, even when they could not fully comprehend the road ahead. In the same way, I ask you to trust me, not only with your prayer for financial miracle but with every part of your life. Surrender requires humility. It is a recognition that you cannot do this alone, that your strength comes from me. When you release the need to control every outcome, you create space for my power to move. Remember, my child, I am the God who makes a way where there seems to be no way. When you let go of striving, you allow my strength to work on your behalf, accomplishing far more than you could on your own. The disciples' surrender at the Last Supper was not without challenges. They faced doubt, fear, and moments of weakness, but their willingness to trust me carried them through. Your journey will have its own challenges, but know that I am with you every step of the way. I will strengthen you, guide you, and sustain you as you walk in faith and surrender. Your prayer for financial miracle is a powerful act of surrender. It is a declaration that you believe in my ability to provide and that you trust my promises. When you lay your financial concerns at my feet, you are not giving up, you are stepping into the strength that comes from trusting me. My provision is not limited by your circumstances or by what you can see. I am working in ways beyond your understanding, aligning every detail for your good. Let this truth encourage your heart. Surrender is the pathway to strength. When you trust me with your burdens, you exchange your weakness for my power, your fears for my peace, and your doubts for my promises. My grace is sufficient for you, and my strength is made perfect in your weakness. Trust that as you surrender, I am working all things together for your good. Beloved, let your surrender be an act of worship. Just as the disciples shared in the bread and wine as a reflection of their trust in me, your willingness to surrender is a reflection of your faith. Trust that I am your provider, your sustainer, and your source of strength. The blessings I have prepared for you will come not because of your striving but because of your surrender. Rest in this truth: your surrender is not a sign of weakness, it is a declaration of your trust in me. The miracle you seek is on its way, and it will arrive in the fullness of my grace and provision. Trust in my strength, and let it carry you as you wait for the fulfillment of my promises. Living in the fullness of God's promises, beloved. Your prayer for financial miracle has been lifted to me, and my answer is already in motion. At the Last Supper, I gave my disciples more than bread and wine, I gave them a promise. A promise that my love, my provision, and my presence would sustain them through every season. That promise is for you as well. I am the God who fulfills His word, and I will never leave you lacking. The journey of faith, trust, and surrender has brought you to this moment. The waiting, the prayers, and the challenges were not in vain. Through it all, I have been working to refine your heart, strengthen your faith, and prepare you to receive the blessings I have for you. The miracle you seek is not just about provision, it is about transformation. It is about drawing you closer to me and helping you live in the fullness of my grace and purpose. As you move forward, remember that my provision is abundant and eternal. The bread and wine at the Last Supper were symbols of a covenant that will never be broken. In the same way, my promises to you are steadfast and unchanging. Trust that I am the God who provides not only for your needs but also for the needs of others through you. Your faith and your generosity are part of a greater story, a story that brings glory to my name and hope to those around you. This is not the end of your journey but the beginning of a new chapter. Just as I sent my disciples into the world with a message of hope and redemption, I send you with a testimony of my faithfulness. The blessings you receive are not just for your own comfort, they are tools for you to make a difference, to serve, and to reflect my love in every corner of your life. Let your heart be filled with gratitude, knowing that I have heard your prayers and that I am faithful to fulfill my promises. Trust that the blessings I have prepared for you will come with peace, purpose, and joy. Your prayer for financial miracle is a reminder that you are deeply loved, fully seen, and richly blessed. Beloved, walk boldly in the confidence that I am with you. Live in the assurance that my provision is more than enough, and my love is unchanging. Share your testimony, extend your blessings, and trust that my plans for you are greater than you could ever imagine. The journey of faith you have walked is a testimony of my power, my grace, and my unshakable promises. Go now in peace, my child, knowing that your life is held in my hands. The blessings you sought are here, and they will continue to unfold in ways that reveal my love for you and my purpose for your life. Rest in the knowledge that I am with you always, and let your heart be filled with joy as you live in the fullness of my promises. The perfect example of humility, my beloved child. Let me draw your attention to a moment that changed the world, not with power or grandeur, but with humility. At the Last Supper, I knelt before my disciples and washed their feet. This act, simple yet profound, was not merely about cleaning the dust from their souls. It was a declaration of love, a demonstration of humility, and an invitation to follow my example. Your prayer for humility and a spirit of service begins here. With a heart that desires to walk in the footsteps of the one who came not to be served but to serve. Humility is the foundation upon which a life of service is built. It is the willingness to lower yourself, not in weakness, but in strength rooted in love. When I knelt to wash the feet of my disciples, I showed them that true greatness is not found in positions of power but in acts of love and kindness. In the same way, I call you to embrace humility, not as a burden, but as a gift that allows you to see others through my eyes. When you come to me with your prayer for humility and a spirit of service, you are asking to be transformed. Humility is not something you achieve through effort, it is a posture of the heart that flows from your relationship with me. It is the recognition that everything you have, your gifts, your resources, your very life, is a gift from me, given to you to steward with love and care. At the Last Supper, my disciples struggled to understand the significance of my actions. Peter, in particular, resisted, saying, "You shall never wash my feet." Yet, I replied, "Unless I wash you, you have no part with me." This moment was a reminder that humility requires surrender. To walk in humility and serve others, you must first allow me to serve you, to cleanse you, and to fill you with my love. Only then can you extend that love to others. Beloved, your prayer for humility and a spirit of service is not just a request, it is an act of trust. It is a declaration that you are willing to set aside pride, selfishness, and fear to embrace a life that reflects my heart. Know that as you seek humility, I am working within you, shaping you into a vessel of love, grace, and compassion. Let this truth settle in your heart. Humility is not about thinking less of yourself, it is about thinking of yourself less. It is about lifting others up, serving without expecting recognition, and finding joy in giving rather than receiving. Just as I knelt before my disciples in love, I ask you to kneel before others in service, trusting that in doing so, you are walking in the fullness of my purpose for you. Beloved, I see your desire to live a life that honors me, and I delight in your willingness to follow my example. Know that as you seek humility, I am with you, guiding you, and strengthening you. Your prayer for humility and a spirit of service is already being answered, and I will continue to pour out my grace upon you as you walk this path. Rest in my love, my child, and trust that as you embrace humility, you will find the joy, peace, and fulfillment that only I can give. Let this be your starting point, a heart surrendered, a life transformed, and a spirit ready to serve. The call to serve others, beloved, True greatness is not found in power or recognition, but in the willingness to serve others with love and humility. At the Last Supper, I demonstrated this truth by taking on the role of a servant, washing the feet of my disciples. This act was not only a lesson for them but a call for all who follow me to embrace the spirit of service. Your prayer for humility and a spirit of service is an acknowledgement that you desire to live out this calling. Service begins with a heart that sees the needs of others as opportunities to reflect my love. When I knelt before my disciples, I didn't focus on their imperfections or their future failures. I saw them as individuals deeply loved and worthy of care. In the same way, I ask you to look beyond the surface, to see the value and dignity in every person you encounter. True service flows from a heart that recognizes the worth I have placed in each of my children. Your prayer for humility and a spirit of service is not just about your actions, it's about your posture before me. It is about setting aside pride, fear, and selfish ambition to serve others selflessly. Whether it's offering a word of encouragement, helping someone in need, or simply listening with compassion, every act of service reflects my heart to the world. Remember, no act of service is too small when it is done in love. Service is not always easy. At times, it requires sacrifice, patience, and perseverance. My disciples struggled to understand why I, their Lord and teacher, would take on the role of a servant. Yet, I reminded them that I came not to be served but to serve. In the same way, I invite you to embrace the challenges of service, knowing that every effort you make to bless others is an act of worship and obedience to me. Beloved, when you serve others, you are not just meeting their needs, you are honoring me. Your willingness to humble yourself and care for those around you is a reflection of your trust in my provision and your faith in my promises. As you serve, trust that I am working through you to bring hope, healing, and love to a world in need. Let this truth encourage you. Service is not about perfection, it is about faithfulness. I do not call you to serve from a place of exhaustion or striving but from a place of trust and surrender. When you offer your time, energy, and resources with a willing heart, I will multiply your efforts and provide you with the strength and grace you need to continue. Your prayer for humility and a spirit of service is already being answered. As you step out in faith to serve others, you will find that your own heart is transformed. You will discover the joy that comes from giving, the peace that comes from obedience, and the fulfillment that comes from walking in my purpose for you. Beloved, I see your desire to serve, and I am pleased. Trust that as you pour into the lives of others, I will pour into you. My love, my grace, and my provision are limitless, and I will equip you for every good work. Rest in my promises, and let your service be a testimony of my love to the world. Breaking down pride to embrace humility. Beloved, pride is a barrier that separates you from the fullness of my purpose for your life. At the Last Supper, when I knelt to wash the feet of my disciples, it was not just an act of service, it was a direct challenge to the pride that often resides in the human heart. Your prayer for humility and a spirit of service begins with a willingness to allow me to break down the walls of pride that hinder your ability to love, serve, and grow. Pride whispers that you are self-sufficient, that your worth is determined by your achievements, and that your value lies in being above others. Yet, I tell you this, true strength is found in humility. When I washed the feet of my disciples, I showed them that leadership and significance are not about power or position but about a heart willing to kneel, to serve, and to uplift others. In the same way, I call you to let go of the need to elevate yourself and to embrace the freedom that comes with humility. Humility is not about thinking less of yourself, it is about thinking of yourself less. It is the posture of recognizing that all you have, all you are, and all you hope to become from me. Your prayer for humility and a spirit of service is an act of surrender. A declaration that you trust me to guide you, to provide for you, and to work through you. It is an acknowledgement that my strength is made perfect in your weakness. At the Last Supper, Peter resisted when I approached him to wash his feet, saying, "You shall never wash my feet." His words were born from pride, the fear of appearing vulnerable, the reluctance to accept that I, his Lord and teacher, would serve him in such a way. Yet, I replied, "Unless I wash you, you have no part with me in this." I reminded him, and I remind you, that humility requires vulnerability. It is the willingness to admit your need for me, to receive my love and grace, and to allow me to work in and through your life. Your prayer for humility and a spirit of service is a step toward breaking free from the chains of pride. Pride isolates you, but humility connects you to me and to others. When you let go of pride, you create space for my love to flow freely in your heart. You begin to see others not as competitors or threats, but as individuals created in my image, deserving of love, kindness, and compassion. Humility also opens the door to wisdom. Pride blinds you to your own shortcomings and limits your ability to grow. But when you approach me with a humble heart, I will teach you, guide you, and equip you for every good work. Trust that I am shaping you, refining you, and preparing you to walk in the fullness of my purpose. Beloved, your prayer for humility and a spirit of service is not just about removing pride, it is about replacing it with my love, my grace, and my peace. When you humble yourself before me, you will find that my yoke is easy, and my burden is light. You will discover the joy of living a life that is not driven by ego but by purpose. Let this truth encourage you. Humility is not a weakness, it is a strength rooted in your identity as my beloved child. When you embrace humility, you align yourself with my heart and my mission. Your willingness to kneel, to serve, and to love reflects my character to the world. Beloved, trust me to guide you in this journey of humility. As you surrender your pride, I will fill your heart with peace, your mind with wisdom, and your spirit with joy. Your prayer for humility and a spirit of service is already being answered. And I am with you every step of the way, serving with unconditional love, beloved. True service is not driven by obligation or recognition, it flows from a heart filled with unconditional love. At the Last Supper, as I knelt to wash the feet of my disciples, I did not exclude anyone. I washed the feet of Peter, who would deny me, and even the feet of Judas, who would betray me. This act was a reflection of my love, a love that is not based on merit but on grace. Your prayer for humility and a spirit of service is a request to walk in this same love. A love that serves without conditions. Unconditional love requires you to look beyond faults and failures, to see others as I see them. It asks you to serve not because it is easy, but because it is right. When you choose to love and serve without expecting anything in return, You reflect my heart to the world. This is the kind of service that transforms lives. Both for those you serve and for you. Serving with unconditional love also requires forgiveness. At the Last Supper, I knew the betrayal and denial that were coming. Yet I chose to serve. I ask you to do the same, to let go of bitterness, resentment, and judgment, and to serve even those who may have hurt you. This is not an easy calling, but it is one that leads to freedom and peace. Your prayer for humility and a spirit of service is a step toward releasing the burdens of unforgiveness and embracing the joy of loving freely. Let me remind you, my child, that serving with love is not about the size of the act but about the heart behind it. A kind word, a simple gesture, or a helping hand can carry eternal significance when done in love. Do not underestimate the power of small acts of kindness. They are seeds sown in faith, and I will cause them to grow into something beautiful. When you serve with unconditional love, you are not only blessing others, you are also honoring me. Your willingness to love and serve reflects your trust in my provision, and your belief in my promises. Trust that as you pour out love, I will pour into you, filling you with strength, peace, and joy. Your prayer for humility and a spirit of service is being answered through the transformation of your heart and the impact of your actions. Beloved, let this truth guide you. My love for you is unconditional, and I call you to extend that love to others. Just as I knelt before my disciples in love, I ask you to kneel before others in service, trusting that your acts of kindness and compassion are a reflection of my grace. When you serve with love, you create ripples of hope and healing that reach far beyond what you can see. Rest in the assurance that I am with you as you walk this path. I will equip you, guide you, and strengthen you as you serve. Your prayer for humility and a spirit of service is not only being answered, it is becoming a testimony of my love through your life. Trust that your service is not in vain and that I will use it to bring glory to my name and blessings to your heart. Humility in prayer and action. Beloved, humility is not confined to your thoughts or intentions, it must be expressed in both prayer and action. At the Last Supper, I showed my disciples that true humility is lived out through service. By kneeling to wash their feet, I demonstrated that humility is not a passive posture but an active expression of love and obedience. Your prayer for humility and a spirit of service is the first step, but it must be followed by a willingness to act. When you pray with humility, you acknowledge your dependence on me. You come not with demands but with a heart open to my guidance and provision. Humble prayer is not about eloquent words or perfect petitions, it is about sincerity and trust. It is the recognition that you need me in every area of your life. And it is an invitation for me to work in and through you. When you pray, Lord, teach me humility and help me serve, you are inviting transformation and aligning your heart with mine. But humility cannot remain in prayer alone, it must move into action. At the Last Supper, I didn't just speak of humility, I lived it. I ask you to do the same. Let your prayer for humility and a spirit of service inspire you to take tangible steps of service. Whether it's helping a neighbor, volunteering your time, or offering a word of encouragement. Every act of service is an extension of your prayer. Humility in action requires a heart willing to be inconvenienced. True service often comes at a cost, your time, energy, or comfort. Yet, these sacrifices are not burdens, they are opportunities to reflect my love. Remember, my child? I gave my life for you not because it was easy but because it was necessary. In the same way, I call you to serve others with a heart that says, not my will, but yours be done. Your prayer for humility and a spirit of service is also a request for wisdom. Humility involves recognizing your limitations and seeking my guidance in how to best use your time, resources, and abilities. Trust that I will direct your steps, opening doors for you to serve in ways that are meaningful and impactful. As you act in obedience, you will find that your service not only blesses others but also deepens your relationship with me. Let this truth encourage you. Humility is not about doing great things, it is about doing small things with great love. Your acts of service may seem insignificant, but in my hands, they carry eternal significance. Just as I used the simple act of washing feet to teach a profound lesson, I can use your service to bring hope, healing, and love to those around you. Beloved, your prayer for humility and a spirit of service is already bearing fruit. As you step out in faith to serve, you will find that your heart is being transformed. You will discover the joy of obedience, the peace of surrender, and the fulfillment that comes from living in alignment with my purpose. Trust that I am with you, equipping you for every act of service and filling you with my grace. Let your prayers lead you to action, and let your actions reflect the humility and love that I have shown you. Together, we will bring light to the world, one act of service at a time. Jesus as the servant leader. Beloved, let me remind you of a truth that redefines greatness. True leadership is found in serving others. At the Last Supper, I showed my disciples that being a leader does not mean seeking power or recognition, it means humbling yourself to meet the needs of others. When I knelt to wash their feet, I was not only cleansing the dirt from their souls, I was demonstrating the heart of a servant leader. Your prayer for humility and a spirit of service is a step toward embracing this same calling, to lead by serving and to serve with love. Leadership in my kingdom is not about elevating yourself but about lifting others. When I washed the feet of my disciples, I included each one of them, even Judas, who would betray me. This act was a lesson in unconditional love and humility. I call you to follow my example. Serve not because of what others deserve but because of the love you carry in your heart. True leadership shines when you choose to serve those who may never repay you or recognize your efforts. Your prayer for humility and a spirit of service is also a commitment to influence others through your actions. When you lead by serving, you inspire those around you to do the same. You create a ripple effect of kindness, compassion, and humility that extends far beyond what you can see. Leadership is not about titles or positions, it is about the impact you make by living a life that reflects my character. Let me assure you, my child, that serving as a leader does not mean neglecting your own needs. Just as I took time to pray and commune with the Father, I ask you to draw strength from me. Your service is not meant to deplete you but to fill you with joy and purpose. Trust that I will provide you with the wisdom, strength, and resources you need to lead and serve effectively. The disciples learned at the Last Supper that leadership requires humility and courage. Peter, who initially resisted my act of service, eventually became a leader who shepherded my flock with boldness and love. In the same way, I am preparing you for a purpose greater than you can imagine. Your prayer for humility and a spirit of service is part of this preparation, shaping your heart to lead with grace and integrity. Leadership through service also involves sacrifice. Just as I gave my life for the salvation of many, I ask you to give of yourself, not in a way that leaves you empty but in a way that reflects my love. Your sacrifices, whether big or small, are acts of worship that bring glory to my name and blessings to those you serve. Beloved, know that I see your desire to live out this calling. I honor your prayer for humility and a spirit of service. And I am equipping you to lead with love, wisdom, and courage. Trust that as you serve others, you are not only fulfilling my purpose but also experiencing the joy of walking in my footsteps. Let this truth encourage you. I am the ultimate servant leader, and I am with you as you follow my example. Your acts of service, no matter how simple, carry the power to transform lives and point others to me. Trust in my guidance, and let your leadership be a reflection of my love and humility. Beloved, go forward in faith, knowing that I have called you to lead by serving, and to serve with a heart full of love. Your prayer for humility and a spirit of service is already being answered, and I am walking with you every step of the way, living for others, the true joy of service. Beloved, life's greatest fulfillment comes not from what you accumulate for yourself but from what you pour out for others. At the Last Supper, as I broke the bread and shared the wine, I demonstrated that love is selfless and service is sacrificial. I gave my body and my blood for the salvation of the world, showing my disciples that living for others is the highest calling. Your prayer for humility and a spirit of service aligns your heart with this truth, that real joy is found in giving, not in receiving. Service is not merely an act, it is a way of life. When you live for others, you reflect my love in the most tangible ways. Your hands become my hands, your words become my words, and your actions become a reflection of my grace. Every time you choose to help, to uplift, or to give, you are participating in the work of my kingdom. Living for others requires a shift in perspective. The world may tell you to prioritize your own success, comfort, and desires, but I call you to something greater. Just as I chose to serve my disciples, even in the face of betrayal and denial, I ask you to serve with a heart that is willing to sacrifice. Your prayer for humility and a spirit of service is a declaration that you are ready to live not for yourself but for the good of those around you. Let me assure you, my child, that living for others does not mean neglecting yourself. It means trusting that as you pour out, I will fill you up. My blessings are not a reservoir, they are a river that flows freely when you give. Trust that as you serve, I am replenishing your strength, your peace, and your joy. Your willingness to serve opens the door for my abundance to flow into your life. Service also deepens your connection with me. At the Last Supper, I shared not only bread and wine but also my heart. When you serve others, you are drawing closer to my heart and becoming more like me. Your prayer for humility and a spirit of service is transforming you, shaping you into someone who carries my love and light into every corner of the world. Living for others also means recognizing the value of every individual. Just as I saw worth in each of my disciples, despite their flaws and failures, I ask you to see the same in those you serve. True service is not conditional, it is an act of love that extends grace, even when it is undeserved. When you serve with this kind of love, you bring healing, hope, and restoration to those who need it most. Beloved, let this truth guide you. Living for others is not a burden, it is a blessing. It is an opportunity to reflect my love, to make an impact, and to experience the joy that comes from fulfilling my purpose for your life. Your prayer for humility and a spirit of service is already bearing fruit as you choose to live for others with a heart full of love. Trust that I see your sacrifices, your efforts, and your faithfulness. I am pleased with your willingness to serve, and I will reward you with peace, joy, and blessings that overflow. Let your life be a testimony of my love, a light that draws others closer to me. Beloved, go forward with confidence, knowing that you are living out the calling I have placed on your heart. Serve with joy, love without limits, and trust that as you live for others, you are walking in the fullness of my purpose for you. Your prayer for humility and a spirit of service is being answered, and I am with you every step of the way. Humility in times of challenge, beloved. Humility is not just a virtue for peaceful moments, it is a strength that carries you through times of trial and challenge. At the Last Supper, as I knelt to wash the feet of my disciples, I knew the pain and betrayal that awaited me. Yet, I chose to serve, showing that humility is not about the absence of difficulties but about rising above them with grace and love. Your prayer for humility and a spirit of service prepares your heart to embrace humility even when the road is difficult. Challenges often bring out pride or self-reliance, tempting you to shoulder burdens alone. But I remind you, my child, that humility is your path to peace. When you humble yourself before me, you release the weight of trying to control everything. Trust that I am with you in every challenge, guiding your steps and strengthening your heart. Your prayer for humility and the spirit of service is a declaration of trust, a willingness to lean on me when the journey feels overwhelming. Humility in challenges also means extending grace to others. Just as I washed the feet of Judas, knowing he would betray me, I call you to serve those who may not reciprocate your kindness. This kind of humility is not easy, but it is transformative. It frees you from resentment, heals your heart, and reflects my love to the world. When you serve with humility in difficult moments, you shine as a light in the darkness, drawing others closer to me. Remember, humility is not weakness, it is strength under control. It is the power to choose love over anger, forgiveness over bitterness, and service over self-interest. When you face challenges with humility, you are not giving up, you are rising above, trusting in my plan and my provision. Your prayer for humility and the spirit of service is shaping you into someone who reflects my character, even in the face of adversity. At the Last Supper, my disciples struggled to understand my actions. They questioned why I, their Lord, would take on the role of a servant. In the same way, others may not understand your choice to serve with humility, especially in challenging times. But know this, your actions speak louder than words. They testify to your faith in me and your commitment to live according to my example. Beloved, let this truth strengthen you. Humility in times of challenge is a testimony of your faith. It is a declaration that you trust me to bring purpose out of pain and beauty from brokenness. Your prayer for humility and a spirit of service is being answered as I equip you to face every trial with grace, love, and courage. Do not fear the challenges that come your way, for I am with you. I will provide the strength you need to serve, the wisdom to navigate difficulties, and the peace to rest in my promises. Trust that I am using every moment, both the joyful and the challenging, to shape you into who I have called you to be. Beloved, your humility in challenges is not unnoticed. I see your heart, your efforts, and your faithfulness. Let your actions reflect the trust you place in me. And know that I am working all things together for your good. Your prayer for humility and a spirit of service is not only transforming your life but also impacting the lives of those around you. Go forward in faith, my child, knowing that humility is your strength and service is your calling. The challenges you face are not meant to defeat you but to refine you, to draw you closer to me, and to prepare you for the blessings I have in store. Trust in my love, and let your humility shine as a beacon of hope and faith. The promise of peace through humility, beloved. Humility is not just an act, it is the gateway to peace that surpasses all understanding. At the Last Supper, as I washed the feet of my disciples and shared the bread and wine, I offered them more than symbols of my love. I gave them my peace. A peace that would sustain them through the trials and uncertainties ahead. Your prayer for humility and a spirit of service opens the door for you to experience this same peace. Even in the midst of life's challenges, humility brings peace because it shifts your focus from striving to surrender. When you let go of pride, the need for control, and the fear of the unknown, you create space for my peace to fill your heart. Just as the disciples learned to trust me even when they didn't understand the full picture, I invite you to trust that I am in control, working all things together for your good. This peace is not dependent on your circumstances, it is rooted in your relationship with me. When you humble yourself before me, you align your heart with mine, allowing my love and grace to flow freely in your life. Your prayer for humility and a spirit of service is not only about transforming your actions, it is about transforming your heart, filling it with the assurance that I am with you, guiding you, and providing for you. Let me remind you of a truth that will anchor your soul. My peace is not fragile. It is unshakable, even in the face of uncertainty. At the Last Supper, I told my disciples, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled and do not be afraid." This promise is for you as well. Trust that my peace is available to you, no matter what you face. Humility also brings peace in your relationships. When you choose to serve others with a humble heart, you let go of the need for recognition or validation. You begin to see others through my eyes, valuing their worth and extending grace even when it's difficult. This kind of humility fosters harmony, unity, and understanding, creating a foundation for relationships that reflect my love. Your prayer for humility and a spirit of service is being answered as I fill your heart with peace and your hands with purpose. Each act of service, no matter how small, is a reflection of your trust in me and a step toward living out my will. Trust that I am using your humility to bring peace not only to your life but to the lives of those you touch. Beloved, let this truth comfort you. My peace is a gift, freely given and always available. It is not something you have to earn or strive for, it is yours as you trust in me. When you surrender your burdens and choose humility, you are allowing my peace to guard your heart and mind. Let this peace be your strength, your anchor, and your guide. Do not be afraid to walk in humility, for it is the path to true peace and fulfillment. Your prayer for humility and a spirit of service is drawing you closer to me, shaping you into someone who reflects my love and grace. Trust that I am with you every step of the way, filling your heart with peace and your life with purpose. Beloved, go forward in confidence, knowing that my peace is yours. Serve with joy, love with humility, and trust that as you walk this path, you are living out the calling I have placed on your heart. The peace I give is eternal, and it will sustain you through every challenge and every blessing. Walking in humility and purpose, beloved. Your prayer for humility and a spirit of service is not just a momentary plea, it is the beginning of a lifelong journey. At the Last Supper, I demonstrated that humility and service are not just acts but a way of living. A path that leads to peace, purpose, and fulfillment. I invite you to continue walking this path, trusting that I am with you every step of the way. Humility allows you to see the world through my eyes. It teaches you to value others, to serve with love, and to let go of the burdens of pride and self-reliance. Through your acts of service, you are not only reflecting my character but also planting seeds of hope, healing, and grace in the lives of those around you. Know that every act, no matter how small, is seen and cherished by me. Your prayer for humility and a spirit of service is being answered. Not just in what you do but in who you are becoming. You are being transformed into someone who carries my light into dark places, who brings joy where there is sorrow, and who offers love where there is need. Trust that as you serve others, I am working in you and through you, shaping your heart to mirror mine. As you go forward, remember this truth: humility is the foundation of greatness in my kingdom. The more you serve, the more you reflect my love, the more you trust me, the more my peace and blessings will overflow in your life. Your journey of humility is not just about what you give, it is about what you receive: my strength, my guidance, and my unchanging love. Let your heart be encouraged. My child, you are walking in alignment with my will, and I am pleased with your faithfulness. Continue to pray for humility and a spirit of service, and know that I will equip you with everything you need to fulfill your purpose. Trust that I am guiding your steps, opening doors, and providing opportunities for you to serve and grow. Beloved, go forth with confidence and joy. Live a life that reflects my heart. Serve with love and humility, and trust that I will use you to make a difference in ways you cannot yet imagine. Your prayer for humility and a spirit of service is not just a request, it is a commitment to live in the fullness of my purpose for you. Let this be your foundation. You are deeply loved, fully seen, and called to serve. The blessings I have prepared for you will come as you walk in humility. Trust in my provision, and embrace the joy of living for others. Rest in my promises, my child, and know that I am with you always.